Okay, I think everything's working pretty good so far. Hope everyone can hear me. Okay, so let's start off with this live. All right, I think I waited a good minute here. Okay, so let's talk about the market today. So we had a pretty interesting market action today. It's basically chop as we basically headed up back towards this descending level of resistance. I told this to my subscribers already yesterday on Sunday night, but uh, overall the market acted exactly the way I expected it to be and the way I told my subscribers last night. So I'm pretty sure most of my subscribers are hopefully prepared. But let me kind of explain to you what happened. So after we bounced really strongly, actually, off of around the 433.50 to 444 level here, 444 level, excuse me. Um, we just start to go up higher and higher and higher and higher. There are some positive news, like the House Democrats passing the debt ceiling bill. That bill is going to raise the debt ceiling, and I've been talking about this for the past 3 weeks to my subscribers. So if you guys haven't been, updating yourself with important economic news like that, make sure you guys are subscribed to the C.F.O Swinger Watch. But so far, the debt ceiling is going to be a pretty big issue in the next week or so. So make sure you guys are following that news. But after we bounced this very impulsive move up, we came right back to this descending level of resistance. And now all we're doing is forming, okay, and creating a tighter price range here, okay? And that's usually how price works in the stock market, right? We have an impulse move up, and then consolidation, and then a tighter price action, okay? And then as the price range gets tighter and tighter every single day, like we have been doing for the past, including today, the past 3 trading days here, all right? Tomorrow we might not even move again. We might just be stuck right below this descending level of resistance and then right at support around 442, like we did today. But if we are stuck in this little tiny range, we will most likely get tighter tomorrow as well. Hey, Mr. Pudding. That's awesome, awesome. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. I'm glad that you're here. And I hopefully I see you more on the live. Okay, so with that in mind, on the 4 hour time frame and the 2 hour, whatever hourly time frame that you use, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour, 2 hour and 4 hour are my frequent ones that I use. But uh, it really doesn't matter what time frame you use. Uh, on the hourly time frame, it's going to show you the same thing, and the same thing that I'm looking at. But we have a nice bull flag pattern here. Okay, it's a bullish chart pattern. Right, we have our flag here, and then we have our flagpole. Right, so this is the flagpole is created by the impulsive move up, and then the flag is created by this descending level of resistance, which is this broader and bigger descending level of resistance that we've been getting rejected off of constantly, like today. And then we have our descending level of support, if I draw a little bit more accurately here. Okay, this is also called a pennant. All right, but the same thing. I mean, it's the same bullish chart pattern, and the price needs to break above the flag resistance or pennant resistance in order to see a continuation of the price to the upside. So now, with SPY here, I expect us to break up above towards 444, and then eventually around 445.50ish. That will be our next level of resistance, or maybe even higher as well. Maybe even all the way up to 446. All right, if we have enough volume. But so far, on a 4-hour time frame, the 10 SMA swooping lower and now curving all the way back up as the price has led the 10 SMAs up higher. Okay, and then the 10 SMA will eventually move lower and cross below to support it. Okay. Okay. Let's look out at our first name here. So PLTR. All right. So this has been a pretty popular name in my lives, but like I said before, okay, we are still tracking this ascending level of support. Okay, and this support here is crucial to continue this upside movement that we've been seeing since early August. All right, so in order for us to really continue up higher and blast through the next major level of resistance around 29ish, okay, we have to break above around 29.30ish. Okay, but if we start heading lower and we keep on revisiting this ascending level of support here, that's going to give me warning signs, because that's telling me that the price wants to be magnetized to this ascending support here. So it wants to stay here. And that usually means sellers are wanting to push the price lower, and it's keeping that price near this area right here. So what are my current thoughts for this week, for the rest of the week for PLTR? Well, there's two options, right? Two opportunities here. If the price once again bounces at this ascending level of support here, all right, we should be seeing another incredible bounce like we've been seeing every single time we touch it, right? We bounce and then come back down, bounce, come back down and bounce. Okay, and then the second, all right, the second opportunity here, okay, that's completely different from the first. We have a double top. Okay, and so some people have asked me, how do you know it's a double top? How do you know it's a confirmed double top? Excuse me for a minute, guys. I got something on my phone here. Okay. Sorry for that, guys. So this double top right here is only confirmed if we're able to break below this previous low here that was made. Okay, so the way I have my pivots high and low settings set up here, all right, is that if we break below this low right here, okay, we should see a pivot high here, a box appear here as well, a numbers box. Okay, and that's going to be telling me that there is officially a double top confirmation. But for now, I already know this is a double top because, well, it is a double top. But you might be wondering why I want to look at the number. Well, because for me, I like to observe things with my own eyes. Right, I like to see it for evidence. Right, so let me change it back to my cursor. That's the reason why I have my pivots high and low indicator here, is what I would say. But you guys don't really need it. uh, for me, it's just easier to see the prices on the chart here to see where the previous pivot high was or where the previous pivot low was. But so far, if you break below 27 and start heading to this converging point here between this horizontal level around 26.50ish and this ascending level of support, we could see a breakdown here. Hey, thank you so much, man. Okay. Oh, there's 5 people here now. Perfect, perfect. Thank you all for joining. Okay, so does anyone have any ticker symbols that they want to submit? If you do, please put it in the chat box. And I'll gladly go over it with you guys. If not, I have a few tickers to go over with you guys. While I wait for you guys to type that in, let me go over something that I've been watching out for, and I've previously talked about in my lives as well. So AMD is doing the exact thing that I've literally talked about in my previous lives. Yeah, Mr. Pudding. Yeah, so basically, yeah, I'm a visual learner too. I like to see everything on my chart. It just gives you more confidence. Well, especially for me as a visual learner, I'm pretty sure it will do for you. So if you ever, if you're using the TradingView platform, if you look up pivots high and low, if you press right here, the indicators and strategies, you should be able to see it. Just type in pivots HL. And I will do DDD. Remember that stock? Okay, so AMD. I talked about this, right? I believe I talked about it when we were down here. We made a candlestick right here. So I believe I talked about this in my most recent live as well, and I explained it. And the way I explained it is that I am going to be expecting AMD to come back in to this macro chart pattern here, this big bullish pennant or flag. It's the same thing here, same concept, same chart pattern. And the way I was looking at this chart pattern was that the price will come back up. Okay, we're gonna start filling this gap that we made. Why? Well, because first off, this is a doji a doji candlestick, but we had a lot of buying coming in. All right when we kind of touched this $100 area. This $100 price. Okay, it's considered a very golden price whenever stock reaches $100, and so now this stock is using it as a whole number support. Where this $100 level has to hold in order for us to stay above the hundreds. Okay, and that's the reason. That's one of the reasons why we started to see a lot of buying coming in. All right, so you guys have to remember whenever a stock hits that $100 achievement is what I would say. It's either going to be a hard rejection or we're going to continue up higher and use that $100 whole number level as support. All right, so that's like the golden price that a lot of stocks, a lot of growth stocks, or whatever, or stocks that are based off of solid companies, right? Really want to achieve, right? I mean, who doesn't want their share price to go all the way up to $100, right? If they IPO'd at $20, $25, right, or even lower, now be a huge percentage growth, right, in their share prices. But that's a quick little lesson there on the $100 price level. Okay. So, with that, yeah, levels of psychology are very huge, right? So psychological levels, especially this $100 whole number level, is huge. Okay, but with that in mind, Okay, you guys have to remember AMD has to stay above 100. All right, in order for us to continue up higher. Now, what I said last time on my previous live is that I was going to expect AMD to fill in this gap and then come back in to this chart pattern and then kind of chop around, all right, and maybe even touch this ascending level support once again, bounce off of it, and then eventually hit this descending level of resistance 2 or 3 times here, all right, as we're coming right back into the chart pattern, and then we're probably going to finish this chart pattern as well, okay. And I believe I drew something like this in my previous live, right? I said we're going to go up, right? This is general price action, and eventually, hopefully, right, since I am bullish on the stock, we break above, okay. But obviously, if we start hugging or staying too close near this ascending level support, just like I said on PLTR, right, that means sellers are wanting the price to stay near the support. So what we're going to do is we're going to eventually break below, okay, and we're going to completely negate in this bullish chart pattern, okay. So AMD has been doing everything that I wanted it to do so far. It still has room to move, okay, until we hit around 109.50 or even 109 itself. But once we kind of hit this area right here, all right, we should see some type of rejection unless we see a continuous amount of buying going this name, all right. And if that happens, well, we're just gonna have an early breakout, right? We will have a very early breakout and breakout above 109.50ish and eventually head back towards 112. Okay, so keep your eyes on AMD. Okay, so we have DDD next. Thank you for the recommendation. Okay, it seems like I still have my drawings here for DDD. So DDD, this is one of those stocks, right? It had a huge hype, right? And then it fell back down, right? This is like a huge ramp here, is what I talked about in my previous lives, back in like May and well, early May and late June, when I was looking at these types of tickers. So they had a huge pump, right? So this is the left side of the ramp where we just see continuous buying, and then on the right side of the ramp we see nearly a complete dump from all the people who were buying and holding and buying and holding, right? And so what happened on this right ramp here, or I guess you could say right side of the mountain if you want to call it the peak right here, is that we see a continuous amount of selling, right? And then eventually, right, the people who bought here are going to see that, okay, you know, they're going to tell themselves that the price is right back at support levels, right, at previous support levels. So I'm going to buy, right? I'm going to buy, and they're going to hold, okay? However, sellers are a lot stronger, right? Because this is a new trend, right? We have an uptrend, and then we switch right away to a bearish trend. So who's going to be a lot more stronger in a sense of volume and pressure and momentum? The sellers, right? And so these buyers who were, you know, trying to buy at the dip, at every single dip here, okay, they're going to be taken out, right? And that's the reason why we see continuous selling, and there's a longer period of selling compared to the period of buying, right? And so on names like this, okay, you have to be really patient, all right? Especially as this name is a 3D printing company, right? As you guys already know, 3D printing is a very I guess you could say a futuristic sector or industry, right? Because, you know, whenever people are talking about 3D, especially when I talk about it with other people, we always talking about, you know, making 3D buildings on different planets, different, you know, areas that are hard to build, you know, affordable or strong, you know, buildings, right, on Earth, right? So, you know, 3D printing does have a lot of potential, but we're still in the early stages here, all right? So if you're going to play one of these names, all right, you just have to be very patient and look at stocks like these as investment opportunities, All right, especially with names that have potential to grow in the next few decades. Okay, so that's kind of my overall thinking for this name. But let's kind of go over the technical analysis here. So it seems like so far I haven't looked at this name in a long time, but the price has been respecting all my levels here so far. So I drew a level here around 32.50ish. Okay, and it has been a significant level of resistance for quite some time, and it seems like recently it's still being used as level resistance. So we're kind of ranging between 28.50 to 29 as a key level support, and then our 32.50ish to around 33 as our level resistance. Now, here's the thing though. Okay, so this stock is basically just sitting right at two critical levels of support. And where are these supports? Well, the 50 SMA and the 200 SMA. So what the price needs to do at this point, okay, is we need to rocket away from the 200 SMA here. All right, because the 200 SMA usually, if you're in an uptrend, if and only if you're only in an uptrend, okay, the 200 SMA is usually a bit far away from the candlesticks because the candlesticks are above the 200 SMA and far away, right? So in order for us to have a significant movement to the upside, we need to see significant bounces off of the daily 50 and the daily 200. And so far, it seems like we're holding it phenomenally. We held it 3 times in the past year. Okay, so we have to hold off this 50 and 200 as support. So if I look at the 2-hour time frame, okay, even the hourly time frames look pretty bullish here so far. We have our descending level of resistance here. Okay, let me make that back to white here. And so if we're able to break this, maybe above 23, not 23, above 30, with good volume, we should see another big move back into 33.50ish. Okay. Hey, thank you for your comment, man. I'm glad you're getting a lot of helpful tips and information. You're also watching the weekly. Okay, so we can look at the weekly. Yeah, so the weekly, and you're completely right on this as well. So the weekly here, I mean, just absolutely like this is a big wedge here, right? I mean, this is ranging from January of this year all the way to almost the end of this year, right? So if you're focusing on the bigger picture, like I always want you guys to, this is a really good chart pattern to be looking at on as a bigger picture, right? So this time frame, the weekly time frame. So if you guys want to watch this name on the weekly time frame only, because sometimes I look at names only on the weekly time frame. I don't even care to look at a daily time frame, especially if I'm in the name for a long time, because it kind of gives me a better sense of where the stock might be heading towards. Okay, so this is a nice big wedge. A wedge is usually treated as a bullish and bearish chart pattern because of the fact that it can break to the upside or to the downside. Okay, with a lot of conviction as well to both sides. So make sure you guys are watching this name. This is a great choice, man. Thank you for that submission. Thank you, man. All right, you're not late, man. You're early. Okay, so that was it for DDD. I highly recommend you guys to watch this name. Thanks to Bueller here. Okay, so next name is Apple. Okay, so I am actually in this name. All right, so that's a little discretion right there. And I apologize for all the lines here, but these are my lines from my hourly and my my smaller time frames as well. They're all coinciding with the day time frame, but I'm pretty sure you guys still should be able to see at least a little clearly where I'm looking at. But Apple, So Apple has been seeing significant downsides after that loss to Epic Games. Um, I haven't really read up on it, so I can't really say for sure what happened there. But it did take a negative effect on Apple, since Apple has been basically controlling what they can have and cannot have on the App Store, and I believe it has to do something with Apple's profits as well, and especially with this ruling for Epic Games, Apple is looking to um, their profits can be slashed a significant amount just from the App Store itself, I believe. So I'll make sure to read up more on that. But technically, we are basically nowhere. Okay. um, so this is, we're right back into this range right here. We did see a lot of buying coming back in because of the fact that we kind of had a double bottom play here a little bit. Okay. But still, we're kind of in a no man's land here is what I would say. Um, I would need to see a break above 146.50ish to around 147 to see a total reversal of this huge downside move that we've been seeing. So we would need to squeeze out all the sellers who are still constantly selling even to this day, today, especially in the first half of trading here. We sold off all the back into 143.80 a share. Okay, so you know I just need to see that confirmation once you're back above 146 and eventually above 147. And if you're able to hold above 147, we should see that reversal back to the upside. Okay, you might be wondering, wait a second, that's more than a 3 point move there, right? Or almost 3 point move there. So why would you wait for that long, right? Well, because I want to see confirmation, right? You always want to see that there's a confirmation of a reversal of a trend. You don't want to get in too early because, well, if you get in too early, you might get caught in the continuous downside move that might happen, right? So make sure you guys are waiting for Apple to come back up to 146ish, but I did get in around 144.50ish today, so I did take that initial risk and jump there, but you know what? It's paying off so far, but I will get out, especially if we continue lower tomorrow. Okay, I do have a nice percentage stop loss for my position. Of course, of course. And thank you for that submission as well, Mr. Pudding. I like the username. And we have FB. So, Facebook here. Okay, so Facebook has been making a comeback here. So this is a confirmed reversal. Why? Well, just let's take a look back at the daily chart pattern, right? So we're continuously filling in this gap that we made here. Okay, and so we've completed the gap here. All right, and we are not seeing some significant selling, right? Because if I go back to our time frame, so if we were to continue to sell off, we would have seen a rejection around 347.50 a share, but we didn't. Instead, we broke to the upside, okay, came back down, retested this level of resistance during this downtrend, 347.50, and bounced strongly here with a lot of buying volume coming in as well. Okay, so even with the SMAs right here, my 10 and 21 momentum SMAs, if you guys are new here, the 10 SMA is my red line right here, and then my 21 SMA is this light blue line. The 10 SMA is curling upwards, including the 21, and the 10 SMA is now supporting the price movement higher. So this is a confirmed reversal. I am going to want to see the price come back to 358.50ish to 359. But if we don't, and maybe if we sell off tomorrow, we should see the daily 10 SMA move lower here and then support the price lower by having the price reject off of itself right here. Okay, so this is usually what happens if we continue the downtrend here. If you see a lot of selling pressure, so the 10 SMA comes down here, and then let's make it a different color here. the price, okay, so the price will do this. It will behave like this and reject right off of it like this. Okay, so the 10 SMA can be a formidable resistance here, resistance SMA. All right, so make sure you guys watch that. Okay, Sean, and then your second submission here is CAT. All right, CAT. Oops, let me change back to my cursor. So Caterpillar has been very, very strong today. So I believe, yeah. So on the 2-hour time frame, just like with FB, right? We've completely filled the gap here, all right? Meaning we were able to push out all the sellers who are short here, right? And we squeeze out the shorters here, right? The sellers, and that's the reason why we seen this big pops here, okay? And usually with trends like this, I would normally see, I would expect to see a smaller pop up, maybe back towards 204, okay? But if we go back to the daily time frame, okay, I've also seen stocks that are right back above their 10 SMA here, right? So like I said before on FB, right, Caterpillar could have rejected off of the 10 SMA here, okay, and then come back down again. But today, instead of doing that, we gapped up from Friday's close, and then we continued to go up higher, and we actually closed above the 10 SMA. Now, the other thing that can happen here is that we can actually stay above the 10 SMA here, okay? And when that happens, we're going to let and allow the 21 SMA to move lower and lower and act as a level of resistance. And the longer we stay below the 21 SMA and not be able to stay above the 10 and 21, all right, that means we're going to have a harder and faster rejection off the 21 and maybe continue to sell off again. Okay, so you guys have to watch out here for Caterpillar. All right, Sean? So if you're looking to play this name, play off of a bounce. If we have a gap down on this name, or if we come back down to the 10 SMA, play off of a bounce of the SMA here, okay, and then sell at the next level of resistance, which is around $200. Okay, which is also a whole number level. So make sure you're watching out for that. I hope everyone can hear me pretty well. Please give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear me well. In the chat or down below. Doesn't really matter. Okay. All right. So, O'Brien, let's get to yours. Of course, Sean, of course. C.F.O. So this is another biotech, I believe. Yep, health technology, same thing. Okay, so C.F.O. This is also staging a comeback here. So we're doing a nice reversal as well. So, we filled in this gap here so far from Friday and today. All right, so the action from the last 2 days here have completely filled the gap right here, okay? And now we're going to be seeing some resistance. Why? Well, based off of what I know and how I'm able to, so if you guys are always questioning, there's a lot of people in the past have asked me, how do you know the SMA is going to move that way, right? How do you know your specific SMAs, or maybe if I were using EMAs, right? Well, I don't. I'm only comfortable with SMAs since I've been using them for the past 4+ years. How do I know that they will behave this way or that way, right? Well, because I'm used to it, right? So if you guys are ever seeing people telling you, like other traders telling you that you have to use something, or that you have to use this SMA, you have to use this EMA, they're kind of wrong for that, right? Because it's very, very subjective, okay? Technical analysis, when it comes down to what you use, all right? Because it all depends on what you're comfortable with, all right? And what you're mainly looking to achieve with your trading, all right? And for me, SMAs it does the trick for me, right? And for other people, other traders out there, EMAs work for them, right? But for me, I'm very used to the SMA and I'm very comfortable to the SMAs as well. All right, and that's how I was able to gain experience on how they move, depending on how the price is moving, right? And I was able to make my own trading strategies from that point on. So with this 10 SMA here, right, we're seeing this crossover to the upside of the 21. So this is, first of all, this cross of the 10 to over the 21 is a bullish signal, right? And well, even if I didn't have my SMAs on, right, you can tell you can tell this is bullish, right? Because we've been going up, right? We filled in the gap, right, and we broke this downtrend right here, right? If you guys are able to see this descending level right here, right, and we broke above this descending level of resistance. Okay, so the SMAs also just help me visually as well. Now, I would say this name needs to have a little bit of a breather here, okay, to kind of let out its steam, right? Exactly, Mr. Pudding. So it all just depends on what you're comfortable with. All right. So I can never force anyone to use anything, right? Because that's, first of all, that's kind of wrong to do, because everyone has different trading personalities, right, and trading emotions, right, and they all have a different trading edge. Okay, there's all these different multitude of factors that need to be brought in for you to be able to determine what you're comfortable with using, especially on technical analysis. Okay, so I 100% agree with you there. And in the end, I will be looking at BABA. Okay, so that will be my last ticker here. Okay, since I am about to pass my 40-minute mark here, I think, if I'm okay. So with Sava here, we have a solid level of resistance around 61. Okay, so this will probably be our next level of support if we come back down, and I will want us to come back down. Let's get to the 2-hour time frame here. Okay. Okay, so what I'm seeing here right now is that we kind of need a pullback here. Okay, so this right here, this big impulsive move here, okay, this kind of needs to be digested, just based off of what I've seen in the past on different tickers, and I just had that feeling here, okay, and especially we have gone right to the point where we've dropped down and created this gap below, okay, so 70 is also a whole number area. Okay, and you get this a little tiny tip here for everyone. Okay, so whenever a stock hits a whole number, all right, and in stock trading, a whole number is 0.00 and 0.50. All right, and I know that's not the real rules of what a whole number is, or definition of what a whole number is, because, well, if you're using the actual definition of what a whole number is, we'll be looking at 0.00, right? But 0.50 and 0.00 are our psychological whole number levels. All right, and so 70 looks like it's going to be our next huge level of resistance. All right, why? Well, because first off, that was also the point where sellers came in and we created this big gap to the downside, right? And so now that we have basically taken out most of the sellers who were selling here, right, we're gonna have a harder time trying to get back above 70. Okay, so this is the reason why I want to see a nice push lower back towards 60. Okay, so that's around the 8-point move here, All right. And if we're able to kind of move back lower, we should see the 21 SMA catch up and support the movement higher as well. And if the 21 SMA catches up here on a 2-hour time frame, we should see the price bounce off of the 21 and above 61 or maybe even 60.50ish. Okay, so that's kind of my technical analysis there for Sava. Okay, O'Brien, that's it for your ticker. Natural resistance. Yep. Hey, Mr. Pudding. I got you, man. I got you. Okay, so let's take a look at BABA. So I am still in these option contracts for BABA for the long term. I have contracts for next year for June that expire in June, and I've been adding and adding and adding. All right, because I done my fundamental analysis, and if you guys want to see my fundamental analysis, I've done a huge breakdown on my C.F.O Swinger Watch. So you guys have to subscribe if you guys want to see it, okay? Because if I tell you guys my fundamental analysis, that's gonna be unfair to my current subscribers. So I hope you guys understand. But I have to keep it fair. But if you guys are interested in what the C.F.O Swinger Watch is, please take a look at the description box below. It's the very first link that you guys will see. All right, it's only $25 per month. Every single subscriber that has subscribed to my C.F.O Swinger Watch has made that fee back multiple times. Okay, there's one of my subscribers have made that fee back for over a year. Okay, in one trade right after he subscribed. So there's a lot of opportunities out there. A lot of opportunities. Okay, so BABA fundamentally checks out, right? But technically it does not check out. All right, so we are at a very, very hard spot here. But if I take a look at the weekly or monthly charts, we are sitting at the next level of demand here. All right, the next level of support. So around I would say a range of around 145 to around 147-ish is our immediate level of support. And we have this huge descending trend line of resistance right here, okay, that we've been seeing and I've been watching for the past couple of weeks and the past couple of months as well. Okay, so what's happening with BABA is that with all these geopolitical concerns happening over China and the Communist Party there literally cracking down on everything, on every single private company, private entities, celebrities even, right? I read something on Bloomberg news that there's this huge celebrity in China, and she was being a really huge influence to the public, but all of a sudden overnight, all of her information was gone. Like literally everything was wiped out of all Chinese servers, right? And it almost seems like she got killed, right? She just disappeared off the face of the earth, right? But it seems like the Chinese Communist Party is literally, going after anyone who is going to be a threat to President Xi. Okay, and if he's basically like the emperor of China, right? With the communist Chinese, with the Chinese Communist Party or CCP, basically leading China there. It's kind of scary actually. With what that government can do, right? They're literally erasing people's information. They're erasing billionaires' worth. There's that billionaire in China who lost like 4.6 billion over a course of a few weeks because of the fact that they were cracking down on every single private company here. And BABA is one of them, where they're fined over 2 billion over regulatory issues, right? And so Chinese stocks have been having taking a huge hit for the past three to 4 months is what I would say, or even more than that actually, maybe even 5 months. So especially for BABA though, I would say BABA has a really good discount here, but if we fail this 145 to 147 ish area as new support here currently, we can head back down to 130. Okay, so I had to caution you guys there. Okay, I had to make that cautionary warning there because if you guys are long here right now, right, and we continue to go lower, right, you guys will just be holding a losing position all the way back down to 130. Okay, and it's going to be a very, very stressful position to manage. So make sure you guys get out, because I'm going to be planning to get out if we break below 144 to 145-ish, right? And I'll wait until the price comes right back down to 130, because that's going to be our huge area of support. Now, if we break below 130, that's going to be very, very bad, because if we look back in 2017 here, there's literally no support after that. Okay, we're going to fill in this gap here first of all. Oops. Let's go put it back at 130 here. We're gonna fill in the gap, and then we're gonna start heading lower, because there really isn't any type of solid areas of support. Okay, so I truly don't think we can go all the way back down and below 130. But if we do, and if we bounce at 130, that's gonna be my second attempt here at forming a long-term position for BABA. Okay, so make sure you guys are looking out for that. Okay, so anyone else have a ticker request here before I end this live? Oh, and also, if you guys people have been asking me about my one-on-one mentorship. If you guys are ever interested in actually learning and having me focus on you, okay, just personally, one-on-one, please check out my website. It's down below as well. It's chartsfocus1.com. I'll actually put it on the chat here. And if you guys kind of scroll down on my home page, you guys should see my C.F.O premium programs. Okay. Okay, let's pin that message here. So that is my main website. So make sure you guys take a look at that. And I do have all the links down below as well. Okay, so let's do SoFi. Deanne, thank you. Thank you for a comment. You're welcome. So SoFi has been hitting the subreddits on Reddit, right? The Wall Street bets, right? And so they've been really pumping up the stock here. And SoFi, I believe, should be around 25. Fundamentally, I think there's a fair price for them. Will be around 22 to 25. So this is definitely something that I will be bullish in the long term. Since we've been staying in the same range, we really haven't gone anywhere since IPO here. All right, after IPO highs as well. We've been stuck in this range between 14.50 or even lower, or slightly lower, and 25. Okay, so we can most likely come right back towards 25 if we see continuous buying going in this name. Right, so make sure, Deanne, you're watching out how this follows through here, because we can see a pattern like this happen as well. Okay, this W pattern. All right, so check. Keep an eye out. Just keep an eye out on the weekly time frame. If you feel like you have too much noise in the daily time frame, with the weekly and the larger time frames are a really good way to kind of avoid seeing too much noise on the charts. All right, so that's basically it for SoFi. I mean, if we didn't get in around $16, I would say you're still late at the break of 16 here, since that was the previous level of resistance. Okay, but if you're able to come back down and this 200 SMA is now forming here, if we're smacked down and we're rejected by the 200 SMA here, we can potentially come back down to around 16.50 and bounce off of that as well. All right. So that could also be your entry there. And of course, I understand, man. Self-learning is very, very good. And the basics, exactly. So that does remind me. If anyone wants to, go through all the basics and they want to get that fast lane training, make sure you guys look at my 4 weeks program as well. Will I do an intense 4 weeks program? That's why it's called 4 weeks, where I go over all the fundamental basics and advanced concepts of both equity and options trading. All right, so make sure you guys look at that down below in the description box. I do have a link there as well. Okay, well, that is it for tonight. If you guys are new to the live today, and if you guys don't know when I do my lives every other day. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Okay, well, every other weekday if I want to be more specific. So if you guys want to tune in again, and I hope to see you guys again, tune in on Wednesday, this Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. I do have the time down below on the description box as well. So make sure you guys either take a screenshot or put it in your calendar. But I do my lives every other weekday. All right. So, yeah, if anyone else has questions, please ask away. If not, I will be ending this live in about 5 minutes here. Of course, Dean, of course. Thank you for all caps typing there. You're welcome, you're welcome. Of course, O'Brien, man. It's good to see you back here. I was wondering where you were. Of course, Mr. Pudding. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning into your first C.F.O live here. I thank everyone here for staying all the way. I'll see you all on Wednesday, all right? But if you guys are really interested in the C.F.O Swinger Watch, it's there for you all. All you guys need to do is subscribe there. I assure you 100% that you will be satisfied. Okay, so before I tune off though, Mr. Pudding has asked a great question here. So this is TradingView, all right? And the indicators that I have here is my volume, my SMAs, and then my pivots. All right. Well, this really isn't a indicator here. It's just kind of more of a background thing that I want to have and to be able to see, like I explained earlier on my live. But in the volume here, all right? So on the volume, okay, it's worth every penny. You're right, O'Brien. It is worth every penny there. I always make sure to add a lot of information that every single one of my subscribers will be able to learn something new every single week. And I'm always proud to see all my subscribers really actually learning every single week. So thank you all for always sticking to the C.F.O Swinger Watch and yearning to learn every single week. Okay, so let's get back to this. So the volume bars here, right? So the volume here is shown right at the bottom here, right? And if you look to the left number here, okay, right here, okay, so the most left number, that is the volume for each daily candlestick here. All right, so obviously if I switch to the 2-hour time frame, right, the volume that's shown on the very most left side of the volume number here will be the volume for each 2-hour candlestick, right? I hope that makes sense. And then the number to the right of that, though, that's in orange constantly, right? That's the average volume out of 20 candlesticks. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So, this average volume will be obviously affected, especially if you have lower volume or higher volume, right? So if you have, for instance, out of 20 days, right, or since we're looking at the daily time frame, right? So out of 20 candlesticks or 20 days, if we have low volume for 18 days, right, and then the last 2 days we have a huge jump in volume, then the average volume is going to slightly go up, right? Because it's the average volume out of 20 days, right? So that should make sense. So yeah, that's basically kind of it for my volume there. And then my SMAs here. Okay, so since some people are looking to join my lives every other weekday now, let's make sure you guys are, you know, knowing what you're looking at, right? You guys know what you're looking at here on my chart. So I have 4 SMAs here, even though it says 5. I only have 4 SMAs turned on here. My 10 and 21 are my first pair. Okay, my 10 is the red line here. My 21 is my light blue line here, and then my second pair is the 50 and the 200. All right, so the 50 is a dark blue line, and then the 200 is this golden or yellow line. Okay, so those are my SMAs there, my simple moving averages. And you might be wondering, since I have been asked this question multiple times, why I don't use EMAs. Well, first of all, I'm not comfortable with EMAs. And it's something that I really not didn't get comfortable with, even though I tried to use it when I first started trading 4+ years ago. I found SMAs to be a lot simpler to use for myself. Okay, obviously my opinions vary, but EMAs just never really worked out for me. And then second, EMAs, okay, are exponential moving averages. So what that means is that they exponentially, just think of it like this, okay, they exponentially move faster. So they form a lot faster. And what that means is that the SMAs, if you look at the EMAs and if you compare it to the SMAs, you'll see that the EMAs are a lot closer to the candlesticks because they are more sensitive to the price changes. And everything that I just said there, all right, the SMAs are the complete opposite of that, right? They're less sensitive to price changes, okay, and they are formed a lot slower, all right, and that's the reason why I use them to my swing trading, okay, and that's also the reason why, if you guys ever meet day traders, and I know a lot of day traders, they only use EMAs solely because of the fact that they're exponentially faster. Okay, I hope that makes sense. All right, so that is it for tonight. It is getting pretty late on the East Coast. I know some of you guys are in the East Coast, so I'll make sure to go live a lot earlier. Okay, but I will be going live on 7 p.m. PST as scheduled. I was a little bit late today. My apologies about that. But on Wednesday, I'll see you guys all on 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. All right. So everyone have a great rest of your night. I really thank you for, tuning in. That's the least that you guys can do for me here. Okay. Or the most that you guys can do for me, not the least. I jump on my words there. So I really, really thank you guys for, taking time out of your schedule, your sleep time, to join me on my live. Thank you all for your submissions as well, because, this live wouldn't be possible without your submissions. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you all for your kind comments as well. I really, really appreciate that. Okay, I'll see you guys all on Wednesday. Have a great rest of your night.